Well, thank you, Wayne. We have some time for questions. Does anybody have a question? I'm gonna try and get the mic to you, but we're pretty packed. So, okay, in the front, making it easy.
Hi, yeah. Could you give us a little bit about your background before starting Crashlytics?
Yeah, I started development when I was 7, and then I started my first company at 11. It became a top 300 site, and it got acquired right before I turned 13. So that's when I got bit by the bug. After that, I was part of the first group at Napster, which is, this is home base for Napster. So that was fun. And then I did a bunch of other stuff, including, i2 Hub, Connect You, the Facebook situation that was portrayed in that movie, Social Network. And then I was part of the Dropbox team back in '07, which is like across the bridge at MIT. And I did Crashlytics. So my history, I tend to be very lucky. I found the wave. So, and I joined a company that was at the forefront of it, or I started a company that was at the forefront of it. So with Napster, it was file sharing. With i2 Hub, Connect You, and Facebook, that was social networking. With Dropbox, that was file sharing. Oh, sorry, that was cloud. And then with Crashlytics and Twitter, it's mobile. So it's just been a nice 15, 20 years.
Hello, I just wanted to make sure all the companies you created, you sold them at the end?
Some of them I sold. Some of them were not meant to be sold. So some of them actually produced a lot of revenue, and so the value was in the revenue produced. And yeah, a lot of them got acquired.
So what was the reason why you sold them? Is it because you thought you didn't have anything more to bring to the application?
No. So the calculus behind M&A, so we use Crashlytics for example, right? So the offer came in a year in, 9 figures, and for us, we're thinking, okay, we're growing into a valuation. So when you raise capital, you get a certain valuation that's set, and then your next thing is like, we were set at like single digits initially, literally on day 1, which is an idea, and then we were set at double digits on a Series B. And so for us, we're thinking like, okay, how long would it take us to get to a certain valuation? And so when they made the offer, we were thinking, okay, X amount of years, maybe like 2-3 years to get to that. And in that amount of time, with the mobile landscape moving as fast as it is, it was riskier for us to try to beat the offer in terms of actual valuation, and instead of just taking it and then building it out with Twitter. And so we decided to do that. I'm not a chooser.
So I know this is a little technical question, but so you said that the amount of users like kind of blew up over time, like 10 million in 2 months or whatever, and I would imagine that's like a large amount of load on your servers. So can you just give some information on like how you handle that like large amount like out of nowhere,
Yeah, 3 letters, AWS, right? So Amazon Web Services is the key. So don't do anything else. Just put your stuff on Amazon. Let them take care of it. Make sure though, if that's the case, I mean that's a very luxury problem to have. Is, oh my God, I have too many users. What do I do? First is like go to investor and get a shitload of capital, and then second is just pay your AWS bill. Mostly Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, so a lot of what we hear from like speakers is that, like get out a minimum viable product, like just get something out there that people can use. And it seems like a lot of your tactics, like why you think you were successful was that you had this like really well thought out project that like wasn't just a minimum viable product, like it really was better than anything else, and like it's really hard for other people to replicate. Like, how do you think that should be balanced?
I am really religious against minimum viable product. I hate it. It's not. It basically means that you don't know what you're doing, so you're using your own customers as guinea pigs, and then that means that you're burning the emotions part of it, because you're giving something to your customers that you don't know if they're gonna love, right? So you need to like figure out ways to test that, whether it's through. So the way that we release it is we have very close friends and family, or very close friends in the ecosystem that test out the product and like vet our hypothesis. And then when it's ready, when we're greater than 80% sure that the next person that uses it is going to be extremely happy, then that's when we start releasing it in wide, right? So MVP is awful, awful. It's only good if you do it in lab, like in-house. But if you're releasing it publicly, you're literally just burning capital, like social capital.
Hi, I already understand your app, so I have to ask you like a more personal question. If you don't want to answer or if it's not polite, that's great.
Okay, I'm really curious now.
You are so young and so rich, and now, yeah. What are your goals in life, or what do move your life? Or
What moves my life? Okay, hold on, just swallowing this right now. Yeah, so I'm 30. I never have to worry about, financial stuff, so you're right. For me, what motivates me to continue is, number one, just, I have like, I don't know, 10 years left of my life. No, I'm kidding. I have quite a ways to go, and I want to make more impact, so I'm very impact driven. So I want to make sure that I can help as many people as possible, either through the products I create, whether through its financial donations, whether it's the foundations, whatever it is. It's not money anymore, right? So it's like, what's that saying? It's like you earn, it's like you learn, you earn, and you return. So I happen to enter the return phase of my life really early on, which to me is, I feel like it's a blessing because most people retire at 65. I happen to basically retire like really young, so I feel like I've gained 35 years of life, which I'm very thankful for.
Is that good? Yeah, okay. If you were to start again, like in our shoes, basically, in the current conditions, what would you say you would do? I know you said you started developing very early. What would you say is like a developing market now? It's like I know social media was big, cloud services, etc.
Number one, you guys should count yourselves really freaking lucky because when I started, there was no E-club, and it definitely, if there was, it definitely wasn't like this freaking massive. Like, this is ridiculous. This is awesome, right? And your best resources are basically the people around you. Like, basically, you guys are like luckily in one of the hubs in the world for startups, right? So that's awesome. In terms of the sector, I don't look at it by sector. That's too analytical for me. I look at it by people. I look at it by what do people enjoy. And the funny thing is that changes with time. And if you can hone your capabilities to recognize what that is, you can predict, you can build something to that. So for us with Crashlytics, apps crash, and we knew that developers were going to feel that pain, right? And I always love to choose products that or ideas that are painkillers and not vitamins. So that way they are driven by need to hunt us down rather than vitamins, which requires massive marketing and sales to convince them to eat the vitamin, right? So I look at it from that lens of what can I do to solve people's pain points? And then the second thing is like, how do I get this everywhere?
Hi.
Hey.
So this is kind of like a big sense question, but I'm sure a lot of people here are like interested in working for startups, either now or in the future, myself included. So kind of with that in mind, being someone who was successful early on and who's probably hiring now and in that kind of process, do you recommend to students to sort of work in like big business now and then kind of hone the skills and then get into the startup world, or vice versa, like try out startup and then whatever that process is? And second, like kind of what would you expect from students of maybe our age, college-wise or recently graduated, to bring to the table when coming to someone like you to work for you or a company similar?
Okay, so the first question is about doing startup or big business. Definitely startup. You're going to learn a lot of useless, bad habit stuff if you join like a big company. It's not going to be that helpful to starting a company. In fact, it will actually be detrimental because you start a big company, and by the time that you're in that big company, they're going to have lots and lots of processes, lots and lots of frameworks, the TPS report you have to sign, the procurement, did you get 6 sign-offs before you executed this? That is not startup environment. The startup environment is basically really, really scrappy and literally just laser focused on like impact, laser focused on customer experience and figuring out is this the right product to build? Are we making our customers happy? Are we getting a lot of users, right? You go into a big company and it's nothing like that. It's all process. It's all political environment. And the second thing is, the second question you had was whether or not, like, what would students here bring to the table? What would make me want to hire somebody if they came to me? The one quality that I look for when I hire people is basically is the passion. So if they're in it to win it, that's awesome, because I know they're hungry and I know they're just gonna go for it and they're gonna learn, they're gonna execute, and they're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. But if they have the passion to go for it, right? That's the same thing with entrepreneurs, because I tell the Techstars companies that I mentor, capital gets you through the day, but it's passion that gets you through the sleepless nights, right? And it's that extra oomph that gets you through it.
Yes, hi. So I'm wondering about your revenue stream when you start. How do you incorporate this? Because a lot of the apps or the companies right now, they just do it and then they never figure out the revenue stream. So
yeah, that's actually okay. We had two investors, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast, for strategic reasons, just so they block each other out, and they keep people in check. The East Coast investor wanted us to get revenue really early on, and I was really firm about that. I mean, you're a startup. You can only focus on so many things. So, you know, imagine like a nice little graph, and up here is revenue, and over here is like users and growth. We decided to optimize for users for year one and just kill it, right? Just be everywhere, because I saw the value as in the distribution, in gaining market share, and making sure that our stuff was in all these different apps, you know, basically on all your phones, right? Instead of thinking, oh, can I get an extra $100,000 in revenue? And so we valued that, and it turns out we were right, because the revenue we got, our acquirers, they didn't really matter to them at all. So value doesn't necessarily have to mean revenue. I know a lot of people here, you guys are taught that, like, oh, you have to get revenue, It's not true. Value can actually be market share. It can be the number of users. It can be the fact that you're blocking a competitor, and the fact that, like, if you're blocking a competitor, then they now have a non-zero chance to acquire you because you're blocking them, right? That's value right there. So you have to figure out, like, where is the greatest value you can create in the shortest amount of time.
Hello. Okay. Just a quick question. Crashlytics is obviously a technical product designed for technical people, and you engineered emotions with that in mind. Do you have any tips that you would give to a company that had a technical product but was looking to sell it to non-technical people?
Yeah. So just to be clear, like, the reason why I'm not getting into what Crashlytics actually does at a technical level is because the techniques and the thinking behind it is actually applicable beyond just the tech. So for instance, on day 0, you have an idea. And then on day 1, you're thinking, okay, we need to tell the world that we exist now, right? So most companies or most startups are like, okay, let's create a website. We're gonna have a beautiful website, nice little stock photo. We're gonna have like a menu, and it's gonna say like features or products, and have about, team, and then click on product or features. You'll inevitably see like, oh, there's you and the competitors, and there's like a little matrix. You have all the check marks, they have none, something like that, right? And what that really means is people are, you're basically going on top of a mountain trying to shout as loud as you can. That's not cool. So what we did was, instead of doing like a 20-page layout like that, we constrained ourselves to just one. And we said, you know what? We're not going to scream or shout. In fact, we're gonna make them come to. We're gonna say, you want this? Too bad. You're gonna have to wait. You have to chill out, right? But we also wanted to show the essence of the product, the high quality of it. So we made an entire experience on this one page. We spent a lot of time on this one page. It had no videos. It had no screenshots. It didn't have anything. Yet it still conveyed that was super high quality. So how do we do this? So you're on the website, and it says, Crashlytics. And it's like, the world's most powerful, yet lightweight crash reporting solution. And at the bottom, and right there, it says, sign up, and it's like an email box. So let's say you sign up, and you click on, okay, cool, I want to request access. And it's like the generic thanks you on the list. And on the right-hand side of that you see name, org, and app. So you type in your name, James Smith, org, Acme Co. And let's say you're developing Twitter. And you type in Twitter, T, W, I. And then all of a sudden it fills out. And it's like a drop-down list. And Twitter's highlighted. And you're like, that's so weird. How does it know this, right? And you click on it. And then the input box drops down. Twitter icon pops forward. It says Twitter by Twitter Inc. And it's like social networking. So that does two things, right? One, how the fuck did they do that, right? And two, if they can do something like this so awesome in such a really small area of the site, the rest of the product must be amazing, right? So that helped drive viral. And the second thing that we did, and then I'll finish. The second thing that we did was, because we didn't show any product, we didn't show anything, we're very like mysterious. So we engineered the mystery of it. We were able to approach companies like the Next Web, and we said, hey, we've given no one access to our site to review it. We'd love to give you exclusive access, but you can't post any videos. You can't post any screenshots. In fact, you can't even talk about the product itself. You can talk about the impressions of it, right? And then so they're like, okay. Result, Crashlytics, a godsend, 3,000 word expose. And then so it's up there and people read it and it farther drove that viral engine.
Awesome.